Hi, welcome to Rose at Home. I'm Rose and I am so glad you're joining me on my first time homebuyer adventure. I thought this week I would catch you up on the journey so far, and spoiler alert, this week my heart got broken. But we're gonna get there. Let's back up to about the part where they increased our rent. So as I had mentioned, I'd been wanting or looking at possibly buying a home in the future for a couple of years. I'd worked on my credit. I had paid off most of my debt at this point, and our property manager said that the rent was going up $100 a month and that the owners had wanted it to go up over $200, at minimum of $200 a month or more. He talked them down but said to expect it to be at a minimum another $100 a month next lease renewal, if not more than that. And that was kind of the push out of, gee, wouldn't it be nice kind of dream about a home, to, no, I now have a deadline. I'm not renewing this lease again. I'm going to be in my own house. And at that point, interest rates were really low. So you know kind of where I was when I started. We were at it was like the 2 point something, 3.0 interest rates at that point. So things have changed since I made my decision, but again, I can't control the outside world. I can just control me and have myself as prepared as possible. And that was the moment that the decision was made. And so that was late springish, April, I believe, early April, because our lease is up at the end of May. And so decision was made, and I was not entirely paid off on everything. I'm still not. I'm still paying off my car right now, but I had, I think at that point, one, possibly two, but I think I was on my last credit card to pay that off. Then I was paying off the Peloton, and then I was paying off my car. And so there we are. Decision is made. I'm full steam ahead. And on my Facebook, because I am old enough to still use Facebook, literally within a few weeks of really making that hardline deadline and decision, a ad came up on my Facebook for a local builder that was building out a community, and it was for their section of low-income housing. And as I mentioned, I am a teacher and we don't make much money, and so I looked and my salary fits. Teachers here make money that qualifies us for low-income housing, and I thought, this is perfect. I don't have to worry if something breaks. That's one of the big deterrents. A lot of people are like, oh, but you're just gonna go, you don't know how to fix things. What if things break? What if you get something that has all these problems and you can't call someone to fix it? Well, this was an answer, because I wouldn't have to worry about that. Everything would be brand spanking new, under warranty, new house, super cute, and within my price range, and totally within my budget, literally made for people with my budget. And so I drove out there, and this community is minutes from where I work. Like, I'm telling you, I swore it was a sign. It was kismet. It was like everything is perfect. And because I was right at a year out, I was like, and they're building them new. So it'll probably take until I'm ready to move in, until I'm ready to leave the apartment, that then the house will be ready. Like, it just seemed like the stars had aligned. Stars had not aligned. So I was in it. I was there. I was so excited. I took a friend from my friend Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie, if you're watching. I took my friend Stephanie out there. We walked around. She fell in love too. She had been considering selling her home and getting something different. And we were like, we could both get houses here and be neighbors. It would be wonderful. They were super cute. The 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I don't even know how to describe it. They were just really just cute and quaint, and it just seemed like exactly what I was looking for, and I was under the impression they'd be ready exactly when I would be ready. And so I contacted the company, and yeah, so they called me back, and we had a very defeating conversation. And basically they said that this was May of this year, when construction material prices had skyrocketed and everything, like getting deliveries and stuff was rough. The guy on the phone was basically, well, he explained that the way that it works, if you're a builder and you're making a community of more than, I don't know what the limit is, but if you're making a community of multiple homes, 10% of the new builds have to be for low income housing, and they have all of these rules. But he said that because of the way prices were running for their materials and stuff, at this point they were building them at a loss, and so they were basically slowing it down. And so I don't know why they put that ad up on Facebook then, but they were going to build the absolute minimum they had to per year. When they had first started putting them up, they were like, well, we'll just knock these out. They're little, they're easy, and we'll get this out of the way, and then that's a hoop we no longer have to worry about. But because of all what was happening with pricing and all of that stuff, and because they couldn't then raise the price to cover their costs, they were like, well, we're going to slow it down. And so basically he told me that it would be 5 years, that there was a waiting list and he would put me on it, but it would be 5 years before it would be my turn to try to get one of those houses. And that is not in my timeline whatsoever. And he did say that they were going ahead with others that looked pretty much identical, but were not in the low income section and not part of that program, and so they would be $100,000 more for the cost of the base unit. And I was like, oh well thank you. But all I was thinking was, dude, remember, I qualify for the low income housing. There's no way I can swing an extra $100,000. That the low income price was kind of where my price range is. That's just not a thing for me. So that was sad, and it kind of knocked some of the wind out of my sails, and I was like, you know what? I've still got time. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to keep moving forward. My friend Stephanie, like I said, she ended up not, but she was considering selling her house, and she had a realtor that she really loved. And so she put me in touch with her realtor, and I ended up going ahead and scheduling our first initial meeting. And we talked on the phone for about an hour. It was a really long, really good phone call. She allayed a lot of my fears. She talked about why I shouldn't be that concerned about the interest rates right now and all of that stuff, and how they have been actually much higher. I did some research. They've been up to 18%. And so, not that I'm saying they should be higher, not that I'm saying I wouldn't love them to be lower. I absolutely would. Every time they go up, my purchasing power goes down, because that means the minimum the payments that I'm making are higher for less house. So I'm not saying I'm happy about them being higher. I'm just saying it's something that's out of my control. And if I want to move forward, it's something I just have to understand and deal with. But I digress. So she put me in touch with her realtor. We talked about that. One of her suggestions was to go to some open houses and start thinking about, what do I really like and what do I really not like? And so I took that advice, but I did kind of wait over the summer and just kind of kept moving forward with getting everything paid off. I got last credit card paid off, got the Peloton paid off. And then I was like, okay, so I've just got this one last debt. And my concern was, I didn't want the first time I ever went to an open house to also be the time that I'm trying to pick the house I'm going to live in, and to have all of that pressure all at once, like a new experience and a new thing going on, and have the biggest purchase of my life thus far at the same time. And so I thought, well, let's go and look, and this could be fun. This could be exciting. And so I went to my very first open house. My son went with me. I can tell you that I got the biggest crush on this house. Like, it was so perfect. It was 6 minutes from work, according to Google. My guess is it would be 5 or less. If there were decent sidewalks, I probably could have walked to work. It was that close. But it was zoned for a different high school. And so I wouldn't have to deal with like seeing my students outside my house at any point in time. So that was perfect. It was 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. It was a cottage, and I love the idea of a cottage. Like, everything was nice. It had a backyard, but not a huge backyard. It was nice and small, and parts of it were paved over, so it was like for patio area, so there wasn't going to be a ton of yard work, but there could be if I wanted there to be. There was a lot that and I'm not going to say I was in love with it. I'm going to say I was crushing. I was crushing so hard on this house. But this was, at the time, the way that I had kind of worked the money in my head, the earliest that I could really start looking seriously and consider putting in offers was like January, February. And because of this house, I mentally have redone my math so many times and reconfigured and moved around, and I'd moved it up to like end of November. If this house was still available at the end of November, it was my house. And I thought of it as, this is my house, and I've thought about all the kind of things that I would want to do to renovate and change it, and I guess you could tell from my face what happened. So 2 days ago, and I was also Zillow stalking it incessantly, probably a lot of times a day. I would just go on and check. And it kept saying like, house for sale, house for sale, house for sale, house for sale. And I was like, it's because it's waiting for me. It's waiting for, like, it's a sign. And I really, really, really need to stop looking for signs. But yeah, 2 days ago, end of the workday, I'm about to shut the computer down at work, and I'm like, I'm just gonna jump on really, really quick and just check. And I did, and instead of house for sale, it now says under contract, which means someone else got that house, and I hope they love it, and I hope they're awesome. I had actually taken my friend Stephanie after the open house. We had a open house. We had our open house at school, and so we had time between the end of the school day and the start of the open house, and so Stephanie and I had decided to get dinner, so I drove her out there. We walked up there to the house, walked up the driveway, and we're looking around, and the neighbor comes out and talks to us for like 10 minutes, and she was so nice, and she was like, oh, I just really hope I have a really nice neighbor. And I was like, oh, I want to be your neighbor. I did this to myself. I know I did. I will get over it, but I do hope that she ends up with a nice neighbor, because she seemed like a great person, and the house is adorable and so cute and just amazing. And I hope if that goes all the way through to sold, that those folks are really happy and have and treated as well as I would have wanted to, and all of that stuff. So that was the first open house. So when you see me next Sunday, as we're going to be doing videos every Sunday, I am going to have a guest, more than likely. I'm going to have my son Liam on the show with me, because he has been going with me to open houses, and we have now been to 4, including my crush that broke my heart, and we're gonna go to probably 2 or 3 tomorrow. I'm still a little bit off, but now that I've reconfigured the money in my head, like, if the perfect thing came along in December, that's doable. The thing is, I've already seen the perfect thing, so I think it's going to be easier to kind of wait for the next thing that's as good as that house. But we'll kind of see. So I really hope you'll be back with us, and I hope you subscribe, and see you next week. Bye-bye.